Hey, what's going on? This is Chris. If you're new to the channel, I'm building software as a service products as a complete beginner with no experience. In today's video, we're doing some planning for my first product. I know it's been a while since I posted a video, but I've been spending a lot of time figuring this out, and I had a little bit of paralysis last week on how exactly this should look. So I spent some time trying to simplify this a little bit. I'm really trying to find a fine line between speed and proper planning. I'd actually already tried this one time, and this is actually a re-record. First time I ended up with like a 25 document page dump of ChatGPT info, and it was just a little overwhelming. The amount of information just made it not very digestible. So I've created this questionnaire, this template here. I'm just going to answer a couple of questions today to plan this product out. I already have an idea for my first app, and I'm going to be planning this whole thing out today. So if you want to see what it is and how I'm going to do it, stick around until the end of the video. And if you want to see me bring this to life and actually try to bring it to market, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. In the next videos, I'll be building out the MVP, creating the landing page, creating my go-to-market strategy, and building this thing. Anyway, let's jump right into it. So like I mentioned, I built this new questionnaire that I really tried to make simple. So the first question here is, what are you building? I'm going to be building an automated scheduling platform, sort of like Calendly, but with some additional features. I was doing some research online, and if you watch my last video about my overarching strategy for building these products, I tried to look for a gap in the market. So I did some research, and it looked like there were some people asking for an app sort of like Calendly that has time travel aware booking built right into it. Basically, the idea is that the person that's signing up for your appointment puts in their address before booking a time, and the app is cognizant enough to know and shape your availability based on the travel time from the previous job. It's a little complicated, but I think there are a lot of businesses doing this by hand right now, and we can make something that's going to make their lives a lot easier. A secondary feature that this app is going to have is it's going to allow businesses or users to require a deposit from their customers up front before they can book an appointment. The idea with this is to save these businesses time and money by avoiding no-shows. We're going to market this to business where no-shows are very, very hurtful to the business. That way, if we can save somebody one no-show per month, it really justifies the subscription that this app is going to charge. Obviously, I think there's going to be quite a bit more that goes into this, but this is just my 2-sentence summary of the main features of this app. So who is this app for? To be honest, I really struggled with this. One thing that I found really hard was how far down should I actually niche this? I think this could be a really good tool for a lot of different types of businesses. I put a lot of thought into this, and I think the users that will get the most benefit from it are service-based businesses that travel from home to home. So I thought about that being who it's for, but I think I'm going to niche it down even further. For my last video, I mentioned that I want this to feel like it was made specifically for my target market. If I niche this down even further, I think I can make my message crystal clear. And additionally, maybe then I can add extra features that are even more relevant to that niche. So I put a lot of thought into this. What are some businesses that go from home to home that are very negatively affected from no-shows? And with that, I settled on small HVAC businesses. I was doing a little bit of research, and it looks like these HVAC businesses are losing hundreds of dollars to no-shows. People are trying to come up with solutions to prevent these. Also, I've got to imagine that a lot of these businesses are doing this scheduling by hand right now. I think this is a great place to start. Will they use it? I don't really know, but if we can get some traction, I think there's a good opportunity. And if not, it might be worth pivoting into a different niche and trying the same idea. So what problem does this solve? Well, we kind of already talked about that a little bit. This solves the problem of either manually scheduling these appointments, calculating drive time, and estimating how long the appointment is going to take. And it also reduces no-shows from the customers of these businesses. The reason is because these businesses are going to be able to require a deposit to book an appointment up front, meaning if there's a no-show, they're getting paid anyway. And since their customers are going to be paying for this appointment beforehand, it means there's going to be more commitment from their customers. So the next question is, are there some existing solutions for this problem? And what are some of the pain points for these existing solutions? Well, obviously, we already talked about people doing this manually, like sending out text or email reminders manually, and managing their schedule on something like Google Calendar or even paper notes. The problem with this is it takes a lot of time and it's very error prone. If you have to send out an email reminder or a text reminder manually, you've got to keep track of that for all of your appointments. And with managing like a Google Calendar or a paper note for your calendar, the issue is every time you want to schedule something, you've got to look up how long it takes to get somewhere, and then you've got to manually work that into your schedule. Additionally, with Calendly, you can set buffers between your appointments, but they've got to be manual buffers. They're not dynamic, which means you can only set a set time between your appointments, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, whatever it is. But the problem is it doesn't account for the travel time. So if you've only got a 5-minute drive and you've set your manual buffer to 45 minutes, you're losing a bunch of time and it creates a big headache. The other thing is that Calendly doesn't handle service areas. One idea I have for this app is to enable service areas for these businesses, meaning at the beginning of the scheduling flow, the customer will put in his or her address and the app will tell you right away if you're in or outside of the service area. This will immediately save businesses time and money because they're not going to have to answer this question. They're not going to have to think about their service area. I found another app that I think does this too. It's called TimeTap. It seems like it's a really good app and actually already has this feature. Honestly, I think that app would work really well for people who need this, but we're going to take this and we're going to try to make it super relevant for this target market. So for pricing, I put quite a bit of thought into this. I think the starter plan is going to be $29 a month. And it's going to be usage-based tiers. So $29 a month might get you 50 bookings per month. There will be another tier upgraded to 150 bookings per month at $59 a month. And then finally, maybe a third tier that's kind of like a premium tier, and it allows up to 400 bookings per month for $99 a month. Basically, I think the most important tier is the starter tier at $29 a month. It is a little bit more expensive than Calendly, but I think that the features that are going to come with it are really going to justify this. Also, this is priced very similarly to TimeTap. And then I made the tiers usage-based because I'm going to have to be covering API costs. We're going to be using the Google Maps API or some sort of location-based API to calculate this travel distance and work with some of the other features that we want in this app. I'm also thinking that we're going to integrate with Twilio to send text message reminders. That kind of answers my next questions in regards to variable costs. The biggest variable costs are going to be the API requests, such as Google Maps and Twilio. So where are the places that this target market hangs out? Where can I find these people for outreach? The first couple ideas that I had are Facebook groups, maybe like handyman business owners, HVAC, small business groups. On Reddit, I think there's a couple subreddits for like handyman or HVAC. We'll look at a couple of YouTube channels, and I can also work on finding some of these businesses locally in my area or even outside of my area. They don't have to be in my area for this to work. So the next question is, what is your MVP offer going to be like? I think this is going to take a really long time to type out and explain. What I'm going to do is make a separate video of me planning out the entire MVP. So next, I need to decide what the minimum is that I need to see, sort of like the traction or commitment that we'll get from these people for me to commit to building the MVP. If you watched my last video, my strategy is sort of to offer a discounted subscription for X months to some of these early members in exchange for like a prepaid sign up. That way I'm getting real commitment before I build this MVP. I don't have to spend all this time building it until I know that it's going to work. And then of course, if I don't end up building it, I'll just send out refunds. That's the idea. So I'm thinking for this, if I can get 5 businesses to sign up for the starters here, I'm going to green light this and I'm going to build the MVP. And then the last question is there anything that I need that my SaaS template does not have? So for a little bit of context, I'm creating a template that's going to have a lot of the functionalities for some of these software as a service features that I'm going to need across many different platforms, because my goal is to try several of these products. This isn't going to be the only app that I'm doing. And I figure if I can build one thing really well to start off, I can use it as a template for some of these other projects. The more I can build into the template, the more time I'll save down the line. The template is coming along really nicely. It's already got a Stripe integration. It's got front-end components. It has a dashboard. It lets the user manage their subscription, cancel it, update their details like their name, their email, password, all those basic things you would expect from a software platform. One thing I think we could use in the template for this project that we don't have yet is a Twilio integration. I can just build this once, and that way, if we ever need another app where we want to send out text messages, we've already got the integration built. Anyway, this is the basis for my app. In the next video, I'm going to be planning out the MVP. If you want to see me do this, go ahead and subscribe. The next video will be coming up soon. And after that, I'll be building a landing page and doing some real outreach and sharing my results. If you have any thoughts or ideas for my product, please let me know in the comments. Otherwise, thanks so much for watching and we'll see you in the next video.